Mike and I are buddies. We met at an IA orientation back in 2011, and we've been adjuster buddies ever since. And we were talking the other day, and he one thing led to another. He mentioned what he was doing with your program, and I'm at an inflection point in my career.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for about 10 years. I've written, many claims, as I'm sure I'm kind of exactly in the demographic that you cater to, in terms of adjusters kind of making the next step. And it hit a chord for me, and I'm thinking, I should really look into this further, because I've thought about, I'll give you my entire mentality in a nutshell. I've been thinking about becoming a flood adjuster for years. I've had an authorization since 2016. I've written many water claims, but never one flood claim, because it's a little daunting, because I know that there's a lot more steps involved. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know and that you bring to the table with everyone else, but that's what's held me back. And when I saw what you're offering, that was kind of the missing piece of the puzzle, so to speak.
Right.
And I said, because I want to step, I'm 55, and I figure I have another 10 years, and I wanted to step up where I'm at, just on a personal level, with kids and everything. And I really got to catch up to get to where I need to go. And it was either flood.
Right.
We could go back and forth, but I think flood, if I were trained properly and had confidence in writing a flood claim and all the requirements that go with it, maybe that's the way to go. So that's what brings me to you.
Thank you very much, and I thank Mike for sending you my way. You're in a situation in your career that a lot of adjusters are asking right now. There is, I phrase it in my writings and trainings, adjusting in an ever-changing world.
Right.
And it is changing. I'm just telling you, it's changing. It's changing at warp speed.
Yes.
And so when I say that, you're not the first person that I've had a conversation with that says, do I want to stay in the adjusting world, or do I want to become a PA?
Right. Sure.
Truth of the fact is, unless carriers get this thing under control, you're going to find the PA world blossom. Because if they're going to do a lot of virtual adjusting and desk adjusting, which I'm just telling adjusters who have said, have been against the virtual adjusting, they have no real idea what's going on, because I've been doing that for a long time. I mean, I think of a claim that I had on my own house where my refrigerator ice maker line busted. And so I snapped pictures and sent it to AmFam, and AmFam says, well, give us an overview of your entire hardwood floor area. So I stand back and I take 4 shots and show them that it runs from the kitchen all the way to the front door. So what do they do? They replace my wood right underneath my refrigerator and refinish the whole hardwood floor, and nobody came out.
Yeah.
And we're talking 7 years ago. Now, I don't know for sure if it had anything to do with the fact that I was an adjuster, AmFam, I was certified in their general and farm and ranch, but difference. They were all, it was a slam dunk for them, nobody come out. So my whole point is saying this, I knew what I was doing, but when they turn and they have the homeowners start taking pictures, and it's a water loss, just think of all the water losses you've done. And there in New York, I know you've got a lot of basements, and so you go down into a basement, a homeowner doesn't know all that's taking place in the construction of a basement.
Right.
And so if they take pictures and send it in, you may have a good desk adjuster or you may have a desk adjuster that doesn't know what they're doing. And I know I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. My point is we'll see an increase in lawsuits or an increase in appraisals. The second thing is flood adjusting is definitely an arrow that you want to have in your quiver. You know Sandy. I tell you, when I was going to Sandy, there were more flood adjusters driving away from Sandy than there were staying there. And it's because they didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
When you come to my system of steps to working NFIP flood loss, I'm just telling you, there's more to working a flood loss, David, than just doing the NFIP. If you want to make money as a flood adjuster, you've got to know everything. And that's what I teach in my boot camp is everything. I'm saying everything from the simple fact that you're sitting at home right now and you don't have a flood loss you're working. But in our system, we have what is called the flood adjuster pencil sharpener. If you subscribe to that program, we send it to you either quarterly or monthly. It just depends upon what level you want to be. And it's an exercise that you work and then you send it back. We review it and send it back to you just like you were working actual flood claim.
Right.
But the thing is, working flood losses is not like working wind and hail. You literally start getting prepared for a flood event. I got deployed to Harvey. I never even left my house until 4 days later, preparing all my documents for when I get down there. And when I arrived in Houston, I wasn't setting up appointments. My appointments were already set up. When I arrived in Houston that very first morning, I started out with 6 inspections that day one, going right off. Boom. I was out getting 6 prelims that first day. I had all my inspections done within 10 days.
Wow.
Everything. All my inspections were done. All my prelims were done. And that's what I teach in the boot camp. I teach you how to adjust flood, but listen, I teach you how to make money.
Right.
During Harvey, in 6 weeks, from the start to the finish, I made $189,000.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Yeah.
I only worked 66 claims.
Yeah. Were they residential or small commercial, or did you have some RC BAP in there too?
0 RC BAP.
Yeah.
I had a hospital. The rest of them were all residential. I mean, just residential. And so if you take out my hospital, here's the breakdown. I had one hospital. I had 10 CWAPs. So one hospital, 10 CWAPs. You take that away, I worked 54 claims. And those 54 claims I worked all the way through. And within 6 weeks, I was completely done setting it home.
Wow. Wow.
It all starts with what you do before you arrive. I mean, it's unbelievable. Another caveat to that, David, is I also reviewed another 75 claims of people that I had out there under my system.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
My 66 claims that I sent up, and I could have done more than that, cancer survivors, and we shot a commercial in October. And so I left there to come back and shoot a commercial, but I could have stayed there and worked more claims. What I did is I came back and I ended up reviewing some files for my students that were out there. And it wasn't a lot of reviewing going on. I was just helping them get through that transition. Well, what happens here or what happens there? But I will simply tell you that by going through the program, you know what you're doing before you leave to get there, and you know how to make money. So I teach you, yes, you learn how to adjust flood, but you learn how to make money.
Right. Yeah, I'm well aware. You know, I don't know what I don't know, and that's how I see the utility of having someone with your experience I don't want to go into. I've never been sent home. I worked Sandy. I worked Harvey. I was in Vidor and Beaumont, doing the wind component. It was basically just denials. I didn't do any flood. From Harvey, I went directly over to Irma. So yeah, so I'm out there making my appointments, doing the whole thing, keeping up with all the metrics, but they're different for flood.
Right.
Yeah. With the preliminary, I don't even know what a preliminary is. I don't know any of this. I'm sure I could do it, but I need to be taught, I need to be trained. So that's what held me back the whole time.
Here's what I will tell you.
Yeah.
And since you have admitted to it, let me just simply say this. By the time you would be deployed in a flood situation and you would go out and you would learn that preliminary, it would take you 2 days, 3 days to learn how to do the preliminary report. And because you're going to send it up, they're going to send it back, you're going to send it up, they're going to send it back. And listen, if your preliminary report is not right, you're not going any farther. The preliminary report is the whole secret to making a flood adjustment work.
Right.
I tell everybody that comes to my class, I want you to send up every day 6 to 10 preliminary reports. All those people that come to my class and go through that and learn how to do a preliminary report, and if they send up 6, well, if you just listen to my story on how I made $189,000 in 6 weeks, preliminary report I sent up averaged $3,000. So if you send up 6 to 10 preliminary reports in a day,
yeah, that's crazy.
Now, since you don't know how to do that and you're struggling through that,
right,
you're not making 18 to 30,000.
Right.
You're trying to figure out the game. We teach you in the boot camp how to make the money.
Yes.
Not go out there and try to figure it out, because you go out there knowing what to do.
Yeah, I check my ego at the door. I know what I don't. I don't know what I don't know, but that's why we're talking here. Yeah. So forget all my experience. Throw that out the window. I know how to write an estimate. Everyone that comes to your boot camp knows how to write an estimate, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't, that's fine. And if you supply macros and templates, that's great. I'd be happy to use your macros. I mean, I have my own macros, but I'm sure you have ones that are proven successful. But the system, that's my hot button.
And that's it. That's the total thing to it. The whole system. Steps to working NFIP takes you from turning on the computer to hitting the money key.
Yeah.
Every step takes place.
All right.
As you go through there. Now, when you ask, you get the letters, you get the templates, you get the macros.
Yeah.
I have macros that, boom, you can drop in and estimate a 5x8 bathroom in less than 2 minutes.
Wow.
Everything in there.
Perfect.
And see, my macros are set up for flood adjusting.
Right.
Now the sweetheart thing about this, as a seasoned adjuster, as a flood adjuster, we work from the lowest floor up. When you're working on wind, you're working from the roof down.
Right.
When you're working a fire, you're working the roof down. Okay?
Yes.
If you're smart, you take the flood adjuster macros and you just reverse them and add a roof onto it, and now you've got your fire estimate. The only thing it doesn't include is the soda blasting and things like that you do in a fire estimate. But my whole point is if you're smart at this and you're out working flood, you don't have a flood, and somebody calls you and says, hey, can you do a fire? Guess what? You can build a fire estimate almost as quick as you can build a flood estimate.
Yeah. Plus, there's a ton of water damage anyway from fire department.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the program is a proven program. I go as far as I just simply say is, hey, I put my reputation behind it. It's a money back guarantee that if you take my course, and I don't care if it's the online or the in-person course, I guarantee you within 10 claims you'll make your money back, or I'll refund you the difference. And the thing of it is if you're not making it within 10 claims, then we've got an issue because you're not following the steps. I've got a buddy, Pat, and I talk about him in a lot of my webinars, that he was in Houston and he was working my steps and he thought he figured out, I'll just skip this step right here. He skipped that step and it took him 3 days to go back on one claim to correct by missing that one step. And what was that step? He failed to send an email to the policyholder.
Yeah.
One email. If you fail to send that email to the policyholder, and the policyholder said, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. And so I said to Pat, Pat, if you would have sent the email that you have in your lesson, it's not that he wouldn't have known how to do it. It's CYA because it's in the email that he should have done it. And so we try to, I have tried to look at this from a very pragmatic and logical application. I'm a pragmatic guy. Man, if it's not working, don't use it. Throw it away. Put something in there that is working. So if Pat would have sent that email, that would have saved him those 3 days on that estimate, because he was sitting there waiting for the information to come back from the policyholder, and the policyholder didn't know he was supposed to get it to him. And it's all about the email.
Right. Do you have, are there like when we go out on an inspection, I mean, do you have like checklists and stuff?
Absolutely. You got it all, man. I got a checklist that goes down for your inspection, and then I got a checklist that you have when you're sitting here and you're at your desktop and you're working and you're saying, what do I have to do next?
Right.
And the checklist is, you go down the checklist. You go down it. You don't jump around. You check it off as you go down.
Right.
When you get to the bottom says, hit the money key.
I have one question for you, and this, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's been, I don't want to say scared off, but it kind of makes me a little nervous. Contents. You know, in my career, I've done some contents, but just off to the side. Usually the carriers that I've dealt, and I've dealt with many carriers, you know, most of them, they say, we'll handle it if it's above 10 or if it's above 20, we'll take it from there. So I've done very minimal content type work. Explain to me what type of transition we have to make with that, because I understand with flood that we essentially have to handle the contents, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, we're handling the content, and when what we're doing is we're a coach. We are responsible for the content, but David, I can't tell you what you have in your house.
Right.
But I can provide you an Excel spreadsheet and tell you to take your phone, and every time you take a picture of that lamp or that table or whatever, you're going to take a picture, you're going to write it down in the Excel spreadsheet.
Okay. So essentially the insured, as you said, with us being the coach, but the insured is essentially putting that together. Am I understanding correctly?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Because that's a big job if we have to do that in addition to all the other things we have to do.
Let me tell you, it's a killer. Now, listen, there are some companies out there, some companies that say, hey, you go out and do the property, but we want you to photograph all the content, and we'll do the content in-house. I would never subscribe to that, because what you've just done is you've just given away your commission. You don't get, they're not paying you to photograph the content.
Right.
So I don't do that. And that company, I have done some one-off claims for them. They call me when I'm in Kansas. If there's a flood here in my area, they'll call me and they'll say, hey, Bob, will you go run this flood loss for us? And I'll do that. and they say, don't worry about the content. And I say, I won't run your claim if I'm not doing the content also. And they say, okay, do the content.
Right.
So my whole point on that is you've got to be organized. Flood is all about organization.
Yes.
So that email I was telling you about, it has the spreadsheet. It tells them, we have a video. We give you the rights to use that video, that you send it to your policyholder, and it tells them everything to expect from you before you ever get there. And listen, I sent that out during Harvey, and when I showed up, those people knew me by my name. You're my flood adjuster, Bob. The video that you gave me helped me out greatly. I'm ready. Boom. They walk up and they're just shoving stuff in my hand.
Yeah.
So what am I doing? I'm there taking photographs, measuring it, and I'm gone in an hour.
Yeah.
There's no 3 hours at a home trying to get.
Oh my God! I've never 3 hours in a home. No way. No.
So you know, I mean, there's flood adjusters that only get 1 or 2 projects done a day, and I'm telling you, if you follow my system, you can get 6 to 10 done a day.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot.
That's awesome. You make all kinds of money. And the nice thing about it, as a flood adjuster, now I have a 45-foot motorhome. But as a flood adjuster, you take, for example, Harvey, and I was done in 10 days. I could have left down there and come back home after 10 days. I had all my stuff. I'm no longer paying for a hotel out.
Right.
I'm no longer buying food in a restaurant. I'm no longer doing all of that. I'm down there 10 days, got it all done. I'm back home.
Writing it up and doing whatever.
Doing it. Yeah. Absolutely. So there is a lot of things that's happening as it relates to the flood that will just do wonders in terms of an extra arrow in your quiver on how you can make things happen. So it's good. Like I said, I believe in it. Not only do I believe in it, I guarantee it that, hey, you'll make your money back after 10 claims. If you're not making your money back after 10 claims, I'm just telling you, you're missing a step in the system.
Yeah.
And I can identify it. If you call me and you say, hey, I can't get my ITV right. What's wrong with my ITV? Well, did you follow the steps that I've laid out for you in getting your ITV done?
So you review getting the how to go about using your methodology, getting the ITV.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I've done many ITVs, but sometimes they don't seem that accurate, and maybe I'm doing it incorrectly. I don't know. It's never been sent back, so maybe I was doing it right, and maybe Xactimate's off, considering where we are in the Northeast here in New York. So maybe that's a factor. But yeah, if we have to do an ITV, I'll go by your methodology.
Oh yeah, and see, we give you the square foot basis, and you can verify the ITV against the county records. We tell you how to go look up the county records to do that.
Right.
But it's all in a system. It's steps to working the NFIP flood.
Yeah.
So you get all that, when you're saying, how would you like to fill out a narrative in 5 minutes?
Sign me up.
and within the narrative, you only have one short paragraph to write. One short paragraph.
Yeah.
So the rest of it is drop and fill. There's a drop down, and you click the right sentence and you put it in there. Those 66 claims that I tell you that I worked during Harvey, not one of them came back.
Yeah.
Not
one
came back.
Wow. That's crazy. That's the key to the profitability and getting it done in 10 days.
Exactly. Not one of them came back at all. So it is a proven system. Let me address the issue you asked me in your email. Tell me about online and the in-person. Okay. The online is a actual video of an in-person boot camp. There's no editing. You're going to get my ums and ahs and everything else that would come through that. So you're going to see all that information that is right there. But what you'll get on that is number one, during this coronavirus, you're sitting at home, boom, you get that. you get a great savings by doing it. Only thing is everything that you would physically get put in your hand at a live in-person boot camp is sent to you as a link. And so you have to download it as a link. Now, you can order all of that. We have the different products. Our manuals, they're 80-pound card stock, so they're heavy. Most people, they're printing it at home, so they print it on copy paper. It just tears right out of a 3-ring binder, especially when you're talking about one this thick. Then you have your manual, you have your forms guide. Forms is an awesome book that carry out with you. It's also spiral bound, 80-pound. You're going to download that at home. 24 hours of video training. The sweet thing about that is if you say, man, what did he say there? You can back up, you can watch it again. So there's the beauty of that. We walk you through 3 scenarios of buildings that you're going to inspect. Then we give you all the macros, we give you all the forms, the templates, the token documents. We literally show you how to actually measure things, how to put it in. You get the checklist. It's a peel and stick checklist. We show you how to stack the order that you're going to send it in. We show you how to use Xactimate to make it proficient. Flood has a standard. It's the same. Now, let me say this. You may go to Right Flood, may have you add a couple extra documents. Allstate may have you add a couple extra documents. But bottom line of it is the stack order is all the same. Just that you get from those various carriers, hey, we want this document in there and we want this document in there. Okay, we'll do that. But all the other documents are the same. It doesn't change.
Yeah. Now, you brought up a very good point. Like I said, I've never worked a flood claim. So is there some sort of reference where you show us within Xactimate? So I've never used that functionality within Xactimate, and I'm professional. Yeah. So you show us how to do that as well, I'm assuming.
Show you how to do that. Okay. Absolutely. It is right there. 100%. All the way down. Okay. How do I stack this? Well, it's right there. We show you how to set it up so it will not be disorganized. It will always be the same. I understand Xactimate has a flood format. It's called NFIP flood. Any flood, anytime you work a flood loss, you've got to be in that profile. There's got to be an NFIP flood profile. Will always bring in that stack order on the side for you there. You're not having to restack it every time. You would at one time set it up in your preferences, and it always comes in. So it's a sweetheart of a deal. I'm just telling you. Awesome.
Yeah. I guess that's it. My main concern was getting through it, knowing and learning what I don't know, what's needed, having the checklist. So I'm big on that. I have my own little checklist. Now it's in my head because I've done it so many times, but I don't want to have to keep, it's all written down. I'm big on that because I know once you get lost, once you get behind, you're hopelessly behind, and they're going to send you home. And I've never been sent home, and I'm not about to start now. So,
in Harvey, people that were being sent home because they didn't know what they were doing.
I know. I knew at the time. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to do a flood claim, and I was authorized at the time, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I don't. So I went with the wind, and I made money, but I didn't make 186 grand in 6 weeks for sure, but.
The nice thing about flood is I'm telling you, once you get your prelims up, once you get your inspections done, you're sitting at home. Let me tell you, I'd rather be sitting home than sitting in a hotel by myself. Flood is a sweetheart deal.
Yeah. Well, this could definitely be the missing piece of the puzzle. I'm like I said, I'm at a point in my career, and I've kind of reached the income threshold. With the exception of working Harvey that year, my income's been roughly, just edging over 6 figures. And I got to take it to the next level. If not, if not now, when? I mean, you see my gray
Yeah,
hair
I'm
here.
losing mine too. It's going back. So
Yeah, so it's like, okay, now
right.
it's crunch time.
I just
Yeah,
told you about the online, the in person. You get all
yeah,
the goods in your hand when you come. You get that, and then you get to build
yeah,
camaraderie with other people. And I need to tell you, the
yeah,
people that come that drop the money for the in person, they're pretty serious about it. I mean, if you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
serious about dropping those kind of bucks to come to a boot camp and learn, then I don't know for sure if you're really going to be that good of a flood adjuster.
yeah. I understand. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Let me ask you now, one thing in your, and then I guess I have what I need
Sure,
here,
sure.
and I appreciate all the time that you've given me, but your personal time. So thank you very much. One thing I read in the email, and I just kind of wanted to clarify with you. So if I go with the online, um, if I followed up, and maybe I don't even need to, but if the circumstance presents itself in terms of when we're finally able to meet with people in person, if I followed up with the in person class, would I only pay the difference?
Paid on the
Yeah.
online would come off of the in person.
Or okay, so it would be applied towards the in person.
Yep, 100%.
Okay. All right, got it. All right.
Sure.
All right, let me figure this out. You'll hear from me very shortly, but thank you very much for your time. You've been extremely helpful. Yeah,
You're welcome. And you have a
thanks.
great day, man.
Okay, bye now.
Copyright 2016-2020, NFIP Flood Bootcamp, Bullseye Training, and Bullseye Adjusting and Associates, LLC.